Hey, Sonny. Hey, hi. How you darn? Yes, today we're gonna be looking at VHS. I know you can already tell from the little analog horror intro I'm doing. I'm even wearing an old-timey hat. Like, hey, Sonny, we're gonna go down to the mall and have us a real good time. I don't even know what I just said, but it was probably cool. So leave me some love in the comments, baby. Give me some love, give me some likes, and then maybe I can sleep at night. But anyways, we're going to be talking about VHS. And now, spoilers, obviously, for this movie that came out like 10 years ago. I mean, come on, guys, just go watch VHS. But I'm going to give you my opinions on the entire film. And this movie's kind of like, you remember those Valentine's Day movies? Those absolute weird ass schlongs that were like, let's do 87 love stories, and then let's do Labor Day, and then let's do April Fools, and then let's do like a Martin Luther King Jr. Day. You know, they just do like every holiday. It's like Columbus Day, and you're like, why did we need a Columbus Day love story? Like, what was the necessary plan for this? Why does this need to exist? And yeah, this is kind of set up the same way, and what I mean by that is it's a bunch of different stories that are pieced together in one grander narrative, sort of. I mean, usually it's held on by a string of duct tape or a hardened semen. It really is nothing other way I could put that. It's just kind of fucking done. They just did it. But VHS is held in the same regard, and because of that, I am going to break it down from the stories I think are the worst to the best. Now, the worst one by far, Tape 56, the narrative, the thing that binds this bitch together. It is not that good. You're revolving around the typical terrible people. They really like assault of a kissing nature. I hate YouTube's. You know what I mean. It is non-consensual. It is not cool, dude. These guys suck. They're like running around. It just starts with them like going up to people. You remember those Girls Gone Wild? You'd be like watching Cartoon Network, and it's about to turn into Adult Swim, and you hit that Adult Swim mark, and your parents aren't home yet. And you're like, I'm gonna see what this Adult Swim's about. I'm gonna dive into what this is. And you end up watching, and you see these Girls Gone Wild ads. It's like, whoa, we're down in California. It was just the same thing. Well, this is kind of what they're doing, but without the consent of the women. That is what's happening. Like, at least, I don't know about Girls Gone Wild. I actually don't have enough information to know if everything was consenting in that thing. But it seemed like in the commercials for it, they were like, hey, you want to show us your tits? And they're like, woo. And this one's just like, grab a woman off the street and rip her top off. But these are the guys you're dealing with, and they're hired to steal one tape. And this one tape is supposed to get them a lot of money, so they have to go to this house, and yeah, that's the whole premise. So they're wandering around this house the whole time, and throughout the whole story, what's happening is they'll cut to them like looking for tapes. There's this dead guy in a chair that they see right off the bat in this room full of TVs and VHS players. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. They're gonna put the VHSs in, and then we're gonna get a story, and then it's gonna cut back to these losers. But it's just kind of like you're supposed to be scared because the big guy eventually, you know, he's gonna not be there. You know, 100%. He's gonna get up, he's gonna like waggle his dick, and he's going to leave, and then start killing him off. That you already know that's coming, and that's what happens. It's not great. It's cool for just like popping in and out. It's like going back to a hub world, but at the same time, it feels almost unnecessary and overbloated because it has to be between each of these segments. I do like the idea that they're watching the VHS tapes, but it's almost like it would have been better if they weren't douchebags and I was wanting them to die, because they're horrible people, so I just want them to die, you know? I don't care about them. I don't feel bad. And it just keeps going. It was kind of a slog. That was the worst part of the movie easily, but let's move on to the next one. So the next one we're going to talk about is Tuesday the 17th. Now, this one's toward the end of the film, and it's your typical hack and slash Teens in the Woods thing, and it just plays itself too over the top, because it's like, oh, you get to a point where they're all chilling, they're smoking their weed, because we're cool 2000s kids, man. they're smoking weed and shit, right? And then one of the girls is like, "You're all gonna die out here," and it's like, the fuck, bitch. The fuck? What are you talking about? And of course, then it becomes a slasher thing. I do like the editing behind what they do to the slasher because they distort him and make him all just like all like cut apart where you can't really see his identity. But it does get play out and start getting really stupid when the one chick starts fighting him back, because the chick who says they're all gonna die then like slowly watches her friends die one by one, starting with I think the really like kind of supposed to be the slutty girl played by Rumor Willis, Bruce Willis's daughter. Love her. She was actually really good in this. Here's the thing about Rumor Willis. Everything I've seen Rumor Willis in, I've liked Rumor Willis, and it's not just because she's incredibly attractive, because like that helps. That helps. But it's also because like I find her to be a very interesting actress. I like her father, I like her mom, and I think she's kind of like a good combination of both of those, but in her own like distinct right. And she was the standout in this. She was the only good part actually, because the main chick you follow around, she fucking sucks. She's not good. Everything she reads, bro, just comes off as, "You're gonna die. You wanna fuck me? You want to have sex with me? I'm going to kill you for what you did to my friends." It reads like she almost comes off as like Tina from Bob's Burgers, but non-ironically. Like Tina's like a character. She is not. She just... I wouldn't have gone anywhere with this bitch, let alone a forest. I just don't... If this chick would have looked at me, I would have been like, yeah, no. Go back to watching The Nightmare Before Christmas every day and leave me the fuck alone. That's all I care about. But the rest of it was just kind of played out, and it even kind of ruined the serial killer vibe with the whole thing, because at the end of it, after they've killed all the teens, because like I could tell you all about all the other characters, but the only two that matter were the two girls. The guys kind of were fucking forgettable. I mean, even their deaths were kind of like I didn't care. No, it was like the worst slasher killer deaths, and the only thing that was kind of cool is boring chick did bear trap or Rambo trap. I don't even know what kind of trap it was, but you know when Rambo has like the thing that hits the cops in the first Rambo movie? They had that, but to the slasher guy, and I thought that was pretty cool. Of course, it didn't work, and then she still dies. And the whole point of her going out there was to sucker this serial killer guy out into the open to like take advantage of him. But why wouldn't you tell the other people that? Why wouldn't you like prepare? Why are you just like purposely going out there to die? You're stupid. You deserved your death. Moving on. Alright, next we're going to be talking about second honeymoon. There is this couple, they're going on like a second honeymoon, they're just married or whatever, and yeah, they're on Route 66. It's this whole drive. They end up in this little Arizona town, and it's a little creepy, and it's not really much. It's just kind of a couple doing things for most of it, and then every once in a while you'll get these really cool moments where one of them will be just... and then a hand will come over and then look, and then it'll go over to and show that the other person's sleeping too, and you're like, okay, so somebody's stalking them in place to place, somebody's following them, this is gonna be creepy. Oh, are you scared yet? It's gonna be creepy. And I do have to say that the actress and actor who play the couple do a better job than like, let's say the last one with the serial killer or slasher guy. I mean, like Rumor Willis was the only good actor or actress in that whole group of idiots. But this time, the guy was pretty decent. They had like some of those weird moments that they do in found footage movies where he's like, "Bro, let's just like have sex about it," and like, "I got the camera. Do you like take your nipples out, bitch? Take your nipples out." I mean, that was kind of cringy, and it kind of like, this one's biggest problem wasn't that it wasn't good. The problem is it just overstayed its welcome. Because I really liked both characters, but they just kept doing nothing. They just kept existing. And it ends with him like, "Oh, instead of just going here, let's take another side trip and go to Vegas." And she's like, "Yeah, that sounds fun." And then they stab him in the neck. Like, he gets stabbed in the neck and like bleeds to death. And you could kind of seen the serial killer guy before kind of pop out, and it wasn't a guy, it's a girl, and his wife is a lesbian and has a lesbian lover, and they murdered him in bed. I don't know, kind of like, I liked the twist, but it gotten to the point where it was just like, I didn't buy it, and it came off as stupid. I don't have any reason to believe that they don't like each other. There's like a couple moments here and there, and the only real argument they have is he notices some money goes missing in his wallet, and she's like, hey, this isn't the first time I've seen money go missing in my wallet, and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about, that's crazy. And so she's actually gaslighting him, but it seems very genuine. And I mean, I get it, bitches be crazy and lying. I mean, not all of them. Good women are good women, you know what I mean? But it just kind of comes out of nowhere. There's no pre-built to this. I mean, there's one scene that the serial killer like has a knife and like touches her like her waistline with her panties, and it's like, dude, being a pervy killer. And it's like, actually no, the killer's just in love with the girl. And if the killer's in there and the girl's like asleep, why would she be asleep why would you fuck with your girlfriend while she's asleep? Like, I don't, with a knife. That's just, I don't know, kind of stupid. Not great, just kind of existed and overstayed its welcome, but had good ideas. I wish they would have done something a little better with it, but kind of a low point in the movie. Alright, don't hate me, I swapped out the patty cap. I just couldn't do it anymore. I really don't find those hats that comfortable. But we're moving on to we're getting to the top 3 now. The reason that this movie has staying power, why it still exists, why it matters, because I have to say these last 3 I thought were pretty solid entries. Now, this one definitely, it's not like these 3 jostled in position. I think the third one like the first 2, yeah, maybe I could see bouncing between both of those, liking them a lot. This one was just good. This one was just decent. This one's 10/31/98, and that's the date of October 31st, 1998. And it's about these friends going to a Halloween party, and just like conjuring shit starts to happen. It's not very complex. The best part about it, I think, is the idea that it is in 1998, and it feels like it's in 1998. It feels like, because that's one thing that hasn't really changed, you know, and never will, is the fun of a Halloween party going to a place. The one thing that pushed it in at that point is they're checking their pagers for like the address and stuff, and I just thought like that type of stuff pulled me back. I really like the idea of them just accidentally wandering into the wrong house, instead of like, oh, my buddy sent me the wrong address for within the text message, and I show up to this party and it's not a party. The door's open though, and there's a fucking exorcism going on upstairs, but you don't really know it's an exorcism because you just see 3 guys torturing a woman, so you save her. Of course, she ends up being possessed and causing all sorts of shit. This is where the movie has like its worst visual effects too, because it's using a lot more CG and not really messing with camera tricks or other bullshit. It's just kind of fine. It's kind of fine, but what it does for scares is really powerful here. I like the way they get hit by a train at the end because the demon locks him in the car. Cool stuff. It is kind of a derivative, but it's like decently derivative to where I was like, I liked it and I had a fun time. The sick thing happening to Emily when she was younger. This is a very, very, very intriguing concept, and it was really hard for me to decide which one I wanted to put in this slot, and there's a reason why I put the one in number 1 for right now, but in my head these bounce back and forth. This one starts awesome. It just starts awesome. There's this guy and his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's kind of showing off her new apartment, like, ew, look at the walls, ew, this is here, you want to see my tits? And then she shows her boobs. Fantastic boobs. Great boobs, the greatest. I do a terrible Trump, but yeah, she has very nice boobs. And she starts to say, she's like, I got this bump on my arm. It's weird. I don't like it. It hurts. And he's like, oh, that sucks. And he's so deadpan. And I'm not going to lie, for a good portion of this, I thought he was the worst boyfriend of all time. I was like, this guy's just kind of an abusive dick. There's so many times where he should have been like, go to the hospital, bitch. You should go to the hospital. But the ending payoff explains all of it and makes it all make sense. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we get to that, she's starting to see things in this house, and there's like kids running around. It almost seems very ghost-like. And keep in mind, I thought that this was going to be your typical, ooh, spooky child. And I was kind of, at this point, I thought the guy was playing it a little too deadpan, because the way this one's set up is like a Skype call. So he's down in like the bottom corner, and he just sitting there just, that sucks. Whoa, are you sure you're not crazy? He's gaslighting her so hard, but also like feigning sympathy at the same time. It's weird. It's a weird dynamic, and you think he's a douchebag. You see all this stuff going on to her, and it's like, why haven't you told her to leave yet? What's going on? Why is this all happening? You're seeing her deterioration, and supposedly a few years ago she had like, and even when she was younger, she's had these moments that are just like this. That she's had these like spirals just like this over and over again. It gets to the point where she's dug, like she has like steak prongs, and she's digging into her arm trying to figure out what's going on with this bump, right? It's just so surreal and so horrible, and things, there's like people behind her, and all of a sudden it's like blowing out of proportion, and she gets knocked out, right? She gets like blasted down, and he comes out of the other room. He's been in the next room the entire time behind his like a hidden wall door. And this is where I was just mind fucked. See, I thought he was an asshole boyfriend. I thought that they were just kind of, because you have to remember, I'd seen some of these skits previously that didn't have great acting, so I just kind of assumed he was a bad actor. But the moment that he comes out of that secret door and flips her over and just like cuts into her, because his whole thing is he's an aspiring doctor. So when he keeps telling her, oh, when I visit, I'll check you out, make sure everything's okay. And even when she's cutting into her arm, he's like, yeah, just hold off a couple weeks, so I'll make sure it's okay, babe. I'm almost a doctor, dude. I'm pretty much a doctor, so I'll make sure it's okay. And it's like, no, dude, she needs to go to a real doctor. But the reason he doesn't want her to do that is because there's a tracking chip in her arm, and she's an incubator for aliens. Yeah. And these weird kids you're seeing, they're like alien kid hybrids, and they're creepy as shit. And he literally cuts into her. When he's cutting into her, he's like talking to these things. He's like, we really had to keep doing this. He's like, I don't know if we can keep like gaslighting her into this and stuff like that. He cuts her open and pulls this weird little fetus baby out. I'm like, what the hell, dude? This was so nuts. The twist was so wild, and everything leading up to the twist was fantastic and perfect. His weird acting and deadpan and gaslighting all was necessary to get this payoff. And this is why the earlier one with the serial killer thing I don't think worked as well, because I look at this and I see all the lead up to how this works, and this one ends with him talking to it. He's talking to her, and she's all fucking broken arm, she's got a cut, and basically what they found her after she ran into the street because she had a mental breakdown because she's a schizophrenic. This is all gaslit into reality by like a deep state government shit. There's so many levels to this and so many places you can go, and it's just genius. It's absolutely brutally genius. And it then cuts to him talking to another girl, showing him her titties. And that's the only time you get a reaction out of this guy too. He'll be like sitting there and she'll be like, woo, and he'll just be like, nice, and he's like, I'm gonna cut a fucking fetus out of you. It's just so gnarly. I loved it. I loved everywhere it went with it. I love that this could be expanded further, and if they made a spin-off of this, which they never did, but if they made a spin-off of this, I would totally watch it. I want to know more of the details, but at the same time, I feel like if they did expand into the details, they might fuck it up and overcomplicate a very simple and brilliant thing that's already been done. I loved it. Absolutely a fantastic 10 out of 10 moment in this film. It's cutting a fetus out of her. I thought they were going to take a goddamn kidney. All right. Time for the best short film inside this massive film, and that is Amateur Night. Yes, we have gotten to the one that starts it all, and I think just hit this movie off with such a bang. It was such an amazing piece that a lot of the ones that I have gripes with, I don't think they were as bad as it seems like I make them in this video. It's just after this insanely good opening, it was hard to follow that up. It's hard to follow that up, especially like you're kind of hooked because of the grimy douchebag guys that you want to die, and you're like, okay, I'm intrigued in this. Ooh, they're looking at some VHS tapes. This is interesting. You're pulled in, and once he puts the first VHS tape in, and it jumps to these guys, and the one guy's putting on glasses, and the glasses have a camera in them. And that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was pretty neat. I thought it was an interesting concept. It was a cool departure from what we got before, where they're trying to make like these weird I've already talked about those. These weird, gross films. So it's this kind of a brash change that you're willing to go through, and they're having like a bachelor party or a frat bro night out where they're drinking, they're doing some yay, and it's just working. It's working. They're trying to pick up girls as guys do when they're out drinking. And the one guy's super suave. He's got this one girl on his arm. She's wearing like a red dress. Typical girl in the red dress moment. Her friend will come up, and her friend doesn't want anything to do with them, but she's feeling what she wants to feel his dick. She wants to all over that thing. And the glasses guy has this creepy girl that just shows up and is like, I like you. She reminds me of, like, if you've ever seen Pitch Perfect, the Asian girl that's always just mumbling, like, satanic shit. She's like, I want to kill your family. You know, stuff like that. And she's the embodiment of that, but way creepier. Her eyes just pull you in. There's something off about her, and she's just kind of like there. And you feel bad for her because she's sucked into this weird dynamic with these guys. The point where they're doing yay in the back of the car, the one red dress girl's like, no, I don't want to do that. She's already drunk as shit. But the other girl's like, she just kind of looks at him and then does it. It's almost like he peer pressures her into it, and it's got this underlining tone of some serious issues. Like, you saw the guys do the gritty thing where they're doing the Girls Gone Wild bit, and it's very, very gross and over the top. This one makes you feel like you're watching somebody get chloroformed and about to get plowed. It is not comfortable. When they get to the hotel room, the one guy and the red dress girl are making out. Then the third guy's over on the couch laughing like some sort of creepy cuck. He's just sitting there, sex, we're having sex. It's weird, bro. It's just so uncomfortable. And the one girl's sitting there just kind of like next to him, and he keeps going to the bathroom like, I can do this. I think he can't get hard because of whiskey dick, so he feels like he can't figure it out. Then the one girl passes out, and your main protagonist, glasses guys, which honestly, if my friends were this creepy, I probably would have stepped in a lot sooner. They suck. They're terrible. He's about to sleep with this girl even though she's unconscious, which is a definite no-no. Like, I don't feel like I have to even say that in a video. I feel like that shouldn't even have to be said regardless. If a girl passes out drunk and you were so like, don't have sex with her. Like, plain and simple. I don't. Anyways, so you get to where his girl passes out, and then he's like, you know what? We're gonna three-way your girl. We're gonna three-way creepy girl together. And she says no, kind of, or not no. She like shakes her head because she just is there for glasses guy. She is feeling glasses guy. She's obviously has said I like you like 47 times at this point. She's got this weird line that runs down her head, and I noticed that the first moment she pops on the screen. I knew that her head was going to split apart. It was going to be creepy. She was some sort of demon. I was ready for it, but at the same time, I don't think I was ready for what I was about to get, because once it starts going, then Cuck guy starts pulling his pants off, and she says, no! Like in a creepy ass voice, no! And I was like, whoa. And then one guy gets up because he's getting a bit uncomfortable, but he doesn't have the balls to say anything about it. And again, whiskey dick. So he goes in the mirror, he's like, I can't do this. And then he just hears, like, the guy comes running in with a cut up arm, and he's just bleeding, you know, the cuck guy, because he was just gonna do bad things to her. And then no means no. The other guy's laughing in the room. He's like, no means no, bro. No means no, dude. Like, jeez, dude, if you're gonna have sex with a girl, at least wait for consent, you know, stuff like that. And the other guy goes back out, and because one guy's bleeding, other guy then gets like murdered, and the chick just starts ripping him apart. Her head split open. She's creepy shit. She is kind of hot, nice titties. I'm gonna say that. I'm a guy of culture, like some boobs. She had some nice ones. She's very attractive in a very creepy way. Whole time a little turned on. I don't know why. I kept telling my penis, not cool time to be hard. But, you know, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Anyways, so one guy gets out and finds out his buddy's ripped apart. They try to make like a run for it, and naked guy gets killed. His junk just gets ripped off and thrown on the ground. You see that. And my wife was watching the movie with me, and she's like, I hope they get their dicks ripped off. And one of them did! So, hey! Win for women's rights everywhere. But, yeah, one guy's like, he's running away from her. He gets down to the hotel room. He's running down the stairs, breaks his hand, right? And Chick shows up. She's naked. She gets over him. She starts to, just going down on him. And he can't get on her. She's like, like. And he like freaks out, and then she starts crying. It's like a really sad, sweet moment because she obviously really liked him. She's going through all this hell for him, and he's kind of sucked the whole time. Even though, like, I get it. If I saw my friends ripped apart in front of me, even if they like obviously my friends aren't douchebags like this, but if they were tore apart in front of me like this, I probably wouldn't get bricked up. Not gonna lie. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like it would have been more beneficial for him to get bricked up and just have that go down, because he just kind of pulls his pants back up and dips out, and he's like yelling, screaming like, Dad, the crazy Chick's trying to kill me, and everybody's like, you look like an insane person, and this is a strip motel. We deal with a lot of crackheads around here, a lot of those tweakers. And then she fucking grows wings and flies him out of there. This was insane. It was a wild ride. So with these last two, there was moments in it where I felt like they dragged a little bit, but this one, the only parts that dragged were the uncomfortable parts, and they were there because they were necessary. Just like the last ones, the parts that dragged were because the guy was a douchebag who didn't have any emotions, and then it ended up having a payoff and a reason for that. It's just so brilliant. They ended up making a spin-off to this movie called Siren. It's not rated. It looks like it was direct-to-DVD type shit. I want to see it now just to see, because the girl does reprise the role of the monster in it, and I want to see it. So maybe down the line one day we'll get a Siren thing, and I'll be. It looks terrible. It honestly looks absolutely awful. But if I had to give VHS a rating out of 10, I'd probably say it's like a 7 or 8 out of 10. I feel like that's fair. It would probably be lower if the last two stories didn't hit as hard as they do, because at that point I think it would be left to, I don't know, some of the other ones, they were strong, but they weren't like strong enough to where I can go back to this movie in today's day and time, because I didn't watch this when it came out. I watched this for the first time, as you're seeing this video, recently, very recently. And some of it didn't hold up. The one, like, Paranormal Activity type one, or the Conjuring type one, the CGI looked kind of bad. It still had a good enough story, but it felt dated. It felt very, very dated. Some of the other stuff, just the acting didn't work on it, and it would have been a movie like Paranormal Activity where you go back to it and you're like, it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. Everybody told me it was great, but this one did have the payoffs that made me feel that it was as good as people talk it up. And I'm honestly very, very surprised. I felt like a lot of these found footage movies are very hit or very miss, and I thought this was a huge hit. But thank you guys all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that you showed up. Click like. Tell me in the comments below, have you seen Siren? Because I'm honestly really curious if I should watch Siren. I really want to know if it's any good. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Peace out.